Am I introducing it this time? Oh, right. Okay. I introduced the show. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Player and the Fan. This is like episode 6 of season 2. And I'm excited about this one because we have one of my absolute top 3 favorite people in the entire world, the unofficial UNC mascot, Bdaht. But we will definitely get to him later. David and I are going to have a little bit of discussion concerning some events yesterday. But to introduce you guys, my name is Quierra and I am the fan aspect of this podcast. And of course, we have David Noel the third, who is the player, the coach, everything. He's my analyst, and I'm his color. So,
what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Hey, welcome to the Player and the Fan again. We got seasons. We talking about season 2.
I know.
Now we got seasons. We doing it big over here. I like it. I like it. Season 2, episode. What is this again?
6. About 6.
Episode 6. Hey, let's get it done, man. We got my man Bdaht waiting in the wing to come on. I'm excited about this episode, man. Let's get it going.
All right. So, now, whenever I ask David questions concerning Carolina program, I always want to make sure, especially when it's on our podcast, that it never causes any friction with him and any of his teammates, his brothers, his family, or the program whatsoever. So we're going to kind of walk a really tight rope with this. But yesterday, Ty Lawson had a few choice words. And the post has since been deleted, but just from I don't even know, you can do it from a player perspective, or if you want to do it from someone who knows Ty Lawson. What did you think yesterday, and what was your immediate reaction?
Honestly, when I saw the post, so my man Jawad sent it to me first. And then you sent it to me, and then I got both of them at the same time. But I was a little confused at first because I thought something happened like right now, like something had just happened for all of that to blow up. So I made a couple calls ASAP. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like what happened? Like what is this? And and again, not to put too much out there. Again, I don't have all of the answers. All I will say is everybody's experience at the University of North Carolina is different. Right. Everybody's interaction with Coach Williams is different. It's the same thing that we said about Rashad McCants on episode 2 in season 1. It's the same exact thing. Yeah. I remember that. You remember? But my point is, like, everybody's experience is different, and it doesn't make them right or wrong. It's different. So for Todd to put that out there, he had to be feeling a certain type of way. He had to be feeling emotional at the time, and he had to get it off his chest, whatever that was. Now, whatever that is, that's between him and Coach Williams. I'm sure they'll talk about it. They'll dead the situation if it's possible. I don't know, but what I will say from a player's perspective, just like Rashad, I think you could have handled it a little bit differently. In this age of social media and all that kind of stuff, we're quick to be behind our thumbs. Everybody's bold behind their thumbs. We let our thumbs speak for us, and then we got to deal with the consequences of those actions and those words. And now it's all on my timeline. I'm talking about ESPN. Picked it up. Everybody's picked it up. So now it's something that we really have to deal with. And now again, will that cost us in recruiting? And will that cost, what I'm saying? There's so many things that former players speaking out. Again, if you're like me, my time in North Carolina, it was great. It was great. Do I have my hiccups with North Carolina? Absolutely. Everybody does. Every single player does. No player has come through that program and it's been perfect for them. But at the same time, I respect the program. I respect what they've done for me. I respect what I did for it. And I'll never try to tarnish that. So, and relationships aren't always the same. Again, between whether it's me and Coach Williams or me and Coach Robinson or me and a former player, those are just the things that happen, and most of the time you try to keep that stuff in house, but at the end of the day, I think he reacted off emotion. I'm since he deleted it, I'm assuming that he feels differently about it now.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully again him and Coach Williams can sit down and talk about it and chop it up and get that thing resolved.
Now, I will say I didn't report it on Sports Illustrated on my behalf because I felt like the only way that you could tell this story, you don't know what's going on. Like you said, I don't know anything. I don't know what Ty was thinking. I don't know what happened with him and Coach Williams. I don't know anything. But the only way that you could have honestly reported and painted that story was to label him a gambling drunk. And I did not want that on my conscience. Every report that I saw had him labeled as that. They brought up the DUIs and all his arrests. And I just thought that was just so unfair because you don't know where he's at in this point in life and who he is. And that just painted the worst picture of a person who could be totally different. And what made it worse was looking at fans call him out his name, call him a B word, call him a disgrace to the program. And even when you're referring to Rashad, I mean, it's just, you don't call people out their names. And knowing good and well, you would never say that to their face. And I thought that was just completely irresponsible for a fan to say that, to pit themselves above the program. Like, this program doesn't pay you any money whatsoever. So to just put yourself above it and to act like you're far better than these players is just, it disgusts me. And I wish players really treated, or I wish fans treated players with a lot more respect than they do.
And that's the piece that I've said this on a number of occasions, especially during Carolina and Duke week, that rivalry week. I get on and I start talking, and it's all in fun.
Yeah.
And I tell fans all the time, even when our fans start talking to like guys that comment on my posts, like Sean Dockery, Sheldon Williams, Daniel Ewing, guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tell them, yo, don't be disrespectful.
Yeah.
And I even tell that to Duke fans, like I get it. Like all right, you want to be bold for your team, but be bold in a respectful manner.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell them all the time. Like stop taking this different lane with us because you feel like we're accessible. Y'all don't know us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Y'all don't know us. So stop doing that. So and the way that, everybody has their Carolina pride or their Duke pride or whatever the case may be, or ACC, whatever ACC school that you rep. And I get that. And I appreciate your passion. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that these are people. You don't know the inside story. You weren't there at the practices. You weren't there for every game. You weren't there for the tutoring sessions or the meetings and all that kind of stuff. So you really don't know the inside scoop.
Yeah.
So respect that and just have a discernment in what you use your thumbs to do. Yeah. And say, okay, I don't know the whole story. Let it come out first. Yeah. And then, I'll jump to judgment after that.
But I mean, it's not even bad to even have an opinion. I just seen some of the worst people just calling Ty everything but a child of God. And it just really disgusts me. Like, you can't tell me you're a fan and this is how you act. Even with Rashad, like, just right. It's just not fair. It's just not. The things that they brought to that program and done right. and sacrificed for you to have bragging rights for. You didn't even win anything. It's just, yeah.
Right.
I just want fans to do better and treat players with a lot more respect because y'all read that stuff. Like,
yeah.
And it's just, yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
I just don't even want to say it to Jawad. And of all people.
Right. No, ain't nobody gonna say nothing to Weezy, because Weezy be at the crib. Like, he'll find your address type dude. That's the type dude Weezy. Weezy is. But again, man, like I said, I feel like fans have a duty to whatever school you rep. Like just like we have a duty as student athletes, as athletes, professional athletes too. We have a duty to whichever program or institution that we are at. We have to we have to be mindful of that. We have to understand who we have across the front of our jersey on a daily basis, even when we don't have it across our jersey. Because if I was to do something right now crazy, guess what the headline's gonna say? It ain't gonna say Capital City Go-Go head assistant coach. It's gonna say former North Carolina player David Noel messed up. You see what I'm saying? So that's the piece that we have to also understand, but the fans have to understand that also. And speaking of fans,
good
we have.
play.
Hey, you like that? You like that? Speaking of fans, we have one of the. When I say he rides hard for his squad, and that squad being them heels, my man Brian Bdaht McLaughlin.
Oh gosh. Your audio.
My boy messed up his audio to give me an intro.
Right.
I respect that. I appreciate that. That's how you treat someone of my caliber. Thank you, Dino.
Hey, when you come to the house of the player and the fan, we treat you with all the respect in the world. And hold on, I ain't finished with my introduction. I told you I got a lot for you. My man graduated from the University of Winston-Salem State University. The dub, chew tobacco, spit.
You know what it is.
I know all about it. He's a radio personality for 102 Jams alongside Roxy and Drinking. That's Osama been drinking. My man. They make up the 3 Live crew. Y'all can catch them from 6 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. Dot is also the MC for the Greensboro Swarm. The G League affiliate of the Charlotte Hornets. Hey, y'all remember when we came up here and whooped that up? Never mind, I ain't even gonna go there. But let me back up. He's also a comedian. He's on Wild 'N Out. Hey, Dot, what is it that you don't do? Let me ask you that.
Hey, listen, I don't disrespect Tar Heel players when they do disrespectful mean tweets and Instagram comments. That's for daggone sure. I don't do that. And I don't go to church as much as I should too. I would like to put that out there as well. What's up, man? Thank y'all for having me on this beautiful platform, man. Like, I consider myself definitely on the Quierra look side of things. I am a super fan. And I just appreciate the player and the fan podcast. And thank y'all for having me, man. For real.
Well,
yeah, man. We definitely appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, this is a long time coming. As long as I've known you, I don't think I've ever had the honor of interviewing you. So I am so excited to finally broadcast why you're so amazing and just showcase how lucky Carolina is to have you as a fan. So.
Hey, and I brought my good shirt out today, too. I brought my good shirt, my 2016 National Championship shirt. I'm like,
you know.
Huh?
You know they lost that one, right?
No, we didn't. We won that. My shirt says we won that.
How did you even get that shirt? Like, where did you get that from?
Yo, got that shirt out the trash can from when they threw them away when we lost. That hurt so bad.
Listen to me. I was at a Walmart. And I always go to Walmart. That's where I found this hat, at a Walmart. And I always go to Walmart and I always go trying to find little Tar Heel stuff. And this shirt was 2 of these left. I said 2016. I had to look at it like 3 or 4 times to make sure I wasn't tripping. Bro, I bought both of them right there, and I gave the other one to my bro Moody, man. We're the only 2 people to have 26. And we were supposed to get Bryce Johnson and Marcus Page on our shirts on the backs to represent the 2 soldiers that should have won a championship that year.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, man. So we'll jump right into it. Dot, man, how long have you been a Tar Heel fan?
As long as I can remember, man. Like, before my dad divorced my mom and split up our family to damn.
How somebody make that funny, though?
I just want, because that's my point of reference. Like, he was a Tar Heel fan. Like, growing up, all I knew was Tar Heel. Like again, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, right? So my mom married, and when we moved out here, that guy, I got his last name, so he became my father. And he was a huge Tar Heel fan. And so, like, it was sort of from there, like at like 5, 6, like just learning basketball. But I can remember being a real fan in the middle school era, like 12, 13, when you're talking trash to your homies. And one of my best friends, he's a diehard Duke fan, and we have a life-standing bet. It's a $5 bet on the Carolina-Duke game every single year. And we made a bet in middle school that whoever got married first would have to wear the other team's mascot under their tuxedo. And when he got married before me, it was such an honor to stand at his reception and make him take off that shirt and have a Carolina shirt underneath. It was amazing. Held true to it, man. But, you know, like, it goes back to the early years of me, you know, for real.
That's good stuff.
So, Brian, you are, like, literally UNC's unofficial mascot. At what point did you realize, like, this was your calling? Like, mascot?
It's interesting, man. Like, I put on Twitter the other week, like, what was your senior superlative? And my senior, did y'all get senior superlatives?
We did.
I wasn't cool enough.
You were most athletic, right? You know.
Absolutely, and most likely, and most likely to succeed too. I got two of them.
Well, way to stay true to form, big bro.
Right.
Mine was most school spirited. I would be at all the football games, all the basketball games, and I was always lit. I was always in the crowd, just having a good time. I've always had passion for whatever I've done, sincerely, whether it's 102 Jams or whether I was working at Sears Credit when I got out of high school. Like, it didn't matter. My first job ever was Sonic. And, like, I still love Sonic. Like, when I get to a stat, I want to have a franchise of Sonics. Like, I just have passion, and I'm real loyal to certain brands. And with the Tar Heels, like, I've just always been loyal to it. Like most fans y'all talked about early when you talk about the disrespectful fans. Sometimes those are the most, they feel like, at least, they're the most loyal fans because they look at what Ty Lawson did as disrespectful. So they met his disrespect with disrespect. Is it right? No. You should never disrespect anybody, player, fan, regardless. But I feel like that's where they come from a lot of times. And just being passionate about Carolina and just being passionate about sports and stuff, period, man. Like, and I just was blessed enough to be in a position to, you know certain guys that went there and befriend guys that played at Carolina, like Dino's and Theo's and Kennedy's, and just friends of the program. So I got to go to games and sit in very, very exclusive seats. And I would have this big silly hat on. So whenever I would have this hat on, you know, they're looking for content. So when I'm sitting there screaming with the big hat, like, that just makes makes newspapers, makes Sports Center, like, all of this stuff. So that just became synonymous with it. Like, I'm just as passionate about Winston-Salem State. I'm just as passionate when I do my comedy. Like, whatever I do, I'm passionate with it. So it just fits. And then Josh Graham just one day said, he introduced me on his show as the unofficial mascot of Tar Heel Nation, and people started attracting to us. So I said, yo, I appreciate it. I will definitely wear that as a badge of honor. Absolutely.
I love it. And speaking of that passion and that drive, and Dot, like, I don't know if you know, like, again, my wife went to Winston-Salem State University as well.
Absolutely.
And you were rocking the stage at Mosaic shows. And so I'm going up there to watch her, and I'm watching this dude up there, and he just having a ball. The crowd could be lit, the crowd could be down. It didn't matter. He was bringing it every single time. And I'm sitting in the back like, man, this man is a fool. And I'm dying laughing. And, you know, and again, at that time, we didn't really know each other like that. But, you know, I'm like, yo, this dude is bringing it, bro. This man funny. So I'm sitting in the back laughing, cracking up, waiting on wifey to come out there with no dang on clothes on so I can be mad and all protective and stuff.
Hey, because let me tell you, you won with Holly. Do you understand that? Everybody on campus wanted Holly, dog. I remember when it came out that Holly was dating dude from Carolina. We was all like, "Sis for the win!"
Classic. Hey, but again, for all of the passion that you bring, what goes into Bdaht, the man? So, like, where does all of that passion come from when you're just at home, you're chilling with the fam, all that kind of stuff? Who is Bdaht, the man?
Um,
Or Brian, I would say.
yeah, Brian is a born leader, man. Like people have gravitated towards me for as far as I can remember. I legit, and I joke about this, but I really did, like in our kindergarten class, I was the valedictorian of our class that told the other kindergartners to go forth and be great and won't do it. Like I've always had that role. Like I grew up in the church. So in the church, I used to be in all the church plays. I would always have the lead role, not necessarily because, you know, I said, give me the lead role, but because people saw that in me. You know what I'm saying? Like when I went to Grimsley High School and got, like I said, the senior superlative, like people just always held me in a high regard. And then when I went to Winston-Salem State, I was 3 years removed from high school. So by the time I got to Winston-Salem State, I was 20 and the freshmen were like 18. So I'm the one that's driving, and that year I turned 21, so I'm driving to the liquor store, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm that guy. So it's already a certain level of respect that's being given to me by my peers in my same grade. But then I'm older, so I'm kicking it with older cats too. So I've always been somebody that's just been a leader, whether it's Freestyle Funny, whether it's the 3 Live Crew, whether it's the Connect the Dots platform that I have with my family that I'm doing now, whether it's Bdaht, and whether it's the DJ showcases that I partner with my brother Ron. Like, I've always been able to create content, I've always been entertaining, and I've always been a leader. So those 3 things together have really propelled me into a success that, again, like in middle school and elementary school, like I always knew that I wanted to entertain people. I always did. I would get in ISS for it. I would get put on punishment at the crib for it. I remember in high school, I never got to go to the fair because every time the fair came around was like first quarter report cards, and my shit would always, mine would always suck. You know what I'm saying? My report card would always suck. So I would never get to go to the fair. Like I never went to the fair 1 year in high school. Like I just always cut up, and I put that a lot before academia. And I'm just blessed now that I married a woman who was very, very strong in academia. So she's legit the yin to my yang. Like when we, like, you know this, like when you see kids, you see that they start to have traits of you and your other half. So my strength is entertaining. I'm a super extrovert. Like you're gonna know I'm in the room every single time. My wife, not so much. She's a thinker, she's a planner, she's an analyzer. She's gonna sit back, she's an introvert, she's watching. My son takes more of that. My daughter, as you just saw come through, like, you're gonna know she's in the room. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's my job to sort of nurture those things. And just like you know, like just want to make sure that our kids get everything that we had, but we still want to keep them respectful and keep that drive, which is difficult sometimes, keeping that drive to desire more. Like the struggle that we had, you from Durham, me from Greensboro, Luck, you from Durham. Like the struggle we had from those times is what gave us the drive that we got now to create content and stuff like this, to go out and coach and things of that nature. I sometimes worry if them living much better than we live, is it a disservice that I'm doing to them as much as I'm trying to set them up for the future? You know what I'm saying? So like, again, a leader. I'm a leader of my household, my wife, my 2 children. I'm a leader amongst my friends. I'm a solid individual, 10 toes down, but I just like to entertain, man. Like, and again, like that's just my strength. That's my strong suit. I've always been able to bring entertainment and joy to people, and I take great pride in that.
I can't wait to be in this conversation when I get my husband and my kids, and I can.
It's coming, love. It's coming, love.
I just felt so not included in that conversation. But
and you're perfectly listen, and that's okay.
You ain't lying.
And that's okay.
Take your time.
You matter of fact, you might need to edit that part out. I was too direct with the that's okay. You might need to.
Oh, keep that because it's okay.
Because that's okay. Gosh, man.
I knew when I think like first real life met you, we were at the ACC championship a few years ago. It was in Charlotte, and you looked like.
What did I look like? I'm interested what's on the other end of the sentence.
Me too.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I just knew you were going to be like somebody that I had to have around. I mean, like, I saw you, the only one with Jordans on. I think, like, we were only, like, but like a handful of Black people there. You had a grape soda. I'm like, come on. This fit into every type of stereotype of Black person. Grape soda and Jordans. And ever since then, I have just admired who you are. Just tell me a little bit about your segue into sports and getting into that arena and covering games and being now a personality in the sports world.
I've always had a passion for sports, and I just wish that my athleticism would have matched said passion. God, I just wish. Dino, how I wish the athleticism would have matched. But it did not. It fell far short. And although I was that player, Dino, as a coach, I was that, and Luck, you too have been a coach, a winning coach in your
endeavor.
Chill.
So I would like to say, I was that player that you knew was not very talented, but you also knew he would give you everything he had out here. He would be the first in the lines for drills. He would be the first in the line for the bull in the ring. It didn't matter. Was he going to be successful in these? A lot of times, no. But was he going to give 100%? Yes. So that's why I made a lot of teams. Did I get a lot of playing time? Absolutely not. But just that brotherhood, just that locker room atmosphere, that traveling to games, that stuff that, just wearing your jerseys on game days. Like, I love that, dog. And like, just that was just, and they never had to wash my jersey, but nevertheless, just being able to wear my jersey. I remember one time, y'all, we won a game. This is totally off base. Y'all just made me think about this. We won a game at Grimsley. It was a football game. I didn't play the whole game. It was a tight game. We won at the buzzer type joint, and everybody's celebrating. I said, they're going to wash this jersey tonight. I just went and just started diving on the ground, y'all, just getting my jersey and my uniform dirty, just so they could have to watch number 80. Nevertheless, and you shouldn't sit the bench with number 80. Nevertheless. So I've always had a passion for sports. And I didn't really, so like when I was at Winston-Salem State, I became the PA announcer, and I still hold that title as PA announcer for the football department, for the football program. And so I've always just wanted to be around it. And with media, working at 102 Jam, and us having so many ACC events in the area, I was like, there's got to be a way that I can get in this door. So like one of the very first events that I got to do is what Luck is referencing earlier, the ACC tournament, or the ACC championship was the football ACC championship, and it was in Charlotte at Bank of America Stadium. And I didn't know protocol, bro. Like, I didn't know what I could and couldn't wear. I was just going to be So yes, I came in there with some Jordan's on, and yes, I was in there eating all the chicken and drinking all the grape Kool-Aid or grape soda. I was enjoying myself, But when I was looking around, I too realized, look, that there's not many like us. You know what I'm saying? Like there aren't many Black, young, in tune with the demo. Like when you think about college basketball and college football, just isolating those two sports, the urban culture is so heavy and prominent in those sports. To not have any of us, or not to have the majority of us that look like us reporting that, to me does the sport a disservice a lot of times. Now, with that being said, I give props and respects to the guys who do their due diligence and do great, noteworthy work in journalism. I don't say that because you're Black or white, you can't. I don't even think it's race. I think it's more just the urban energy. You know what I'm saying? Like the music, the shows they're watching, the things of that nature, we can relate. So being in that room motivated me because I knew that there weren't many like me. But in that same vein, I didn't want to be what Lux is. I didn't want to be, this guy coming in with the Jordans and that type vibe. I didn't want to go suit jacket and suit every time either though. So I just bring my own type swag when I come into those events. And it's still a lot that I'm dealing with because again, I'm still the minority when I go in the room, and I don't know the protocol because this isn't something that I'm well versed in as far as etiquette in the journalism room per se. But I do know that I can have a conversation with that guy that you can't have because he's going to trust more information with me just because of the way we converse, just because of the way we bond. He's going to talk to me. 9 times out of 10, he's followed me or sees me on social media. So when I walk in the room, it's like, yo, what's up, Dot? And it's that type of conversation where you're saying, so how was it when you scored? I don't have to do all that. Like I'm saying, All right, so you telling me for real that when you went to Duke Be Chill, the number one thing on your mind was not to beat Duke. You're telling me, like, I'm talking to you like that versus, so what were you thinking when you went in? And is that, so I know that we have a strength. I know that I have a strength. Look, I'm still learning said strength and still trying to be the entertaining person that I like being at the same time. I don't want to be all muzzled up in a room like that. I want to be able to be free.
Right.
I like it. So I'm gonna give y'all a story that you might not even remember this either. Okay. So we talking about celebrity, and we talking about how Jokers is big time. So I remember I just told y'all the story that, you know, I used to watch Bdaht. You know, I was at the Mosaic shows and I used to watch Bdaht. We didn't really know each other like that. I run into Bdaht in Myrtle Beach at the bike rally, and my man, he got his shades on, and I'm like, bro, is that my man from Winston? So I walk up like, bro, what's good, man? How you been? You know what I'm saying? I'm David Noel. I play at Carolina, blah, blah, blah. I used to watch you at the Mosaic shows. Be there or be square. You used to always do that. That joint was so classic. But when I say Bdaht big time me.
No, I did not.
My man hit me with the, yeah, that's what's up, dog, all right, and kept it moving. I said, oh.
Not possible.
And he had the dreads then, too. You had the dreads.
Dreads?
Yeah.
Cornrows. They were cornrows. They were cornrows or plaits.
Well, it was the plaits then. It was the plaits. My man had the plaits. He had the dark shades, and it was at nighttime.
So there we go. I had no clue who I was talking to. Hear me? I had no clue. And
now he calling me. Now I'm too dark skinned. See how people.
Dude, I'm the dude that used to wear shades in the club. Do you know how many people have this story of speaking to me and me walking right past them? I don't even know why that was a thing. I don't know why wearing shades in the club. Well, you can't see anything. But in defense, one, I'm super apologetic. I do not remember that, and I'm so glad I don't remember it. Two, 9 times out of 10, in that time, and I'm just being completely transparent.
Yes.
I was not in my right state of mind. All right.
And won't. I know you won't. I know you won't. You was gone now. I'm not gonna say that, but you was absolutely gone.
Gone.
No question about it. But in that, so as an athlete, you know, we have, and again, in the age of social media and all that kind of stuff, and where you come from, how do you handle the celebrity that comes with Bdaht? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you handle guys running up to you and you don't know who they is and asking for autographs or asking you to do this or pulling your shirt this way and pulling your shirt that way? How do you handle that when it comes to all the different things that you do?
I would like to think, honestly, that there are fewer stories that you just had than the opposite. Like, I would like to, I seriously, like, because I try not to make anybody ever feel like that. And especially men. And I say that because I've been around tons of people and I have very minimal proof because I guess I'm prideful sometimes and I just don't want to ask for a picture. Like, I just feel I don't, like, even if I see you, I don't want to come, yo, I know who you are, because after that, then where do we go in the conversation? Like, and I now I feel this awkward energy. So because I know how much it will take me to walk up to someone with fame and introduce myself, when someone else does it, I try to take that position of being a super welcoming, super transparent, and try to give them that moment that they will not forget. And I try to make it a positive moment, unlike yours, Dina. Now,
I think it's been positive since then.
With that being said, like, there are times where I'm with my wife and kids, we in the mall, and somebody will hear my voice or recognize my voice, and hey, that's da-da-da-da-da. And in those types of situations, my family has been instructed, and at this point they know, like, they just keep walking. You know what I'm saying? Like, and allow me to have that moment with that supporter. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like I don't really like fandom, you know what I'm saying? Like people that support me, and I appreciate that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and when you're in our line of work, as far as entertainers and creators, you need that support. And one wrong story, like I'm thankful and blessed that you and I have the friendship that we have. Because God forbid we don't, and you see me on television and you are who you are, as David Noel, we're talking, you have a number of titles, husband, father, coach, but let's just talk about the ex-player, the ex-national champion. Let's talk about that guy, right? And somebody, and let's say that somebody puts a video or something of me in the chat from Wild 'N Out or something. You and I aren't friends. And you say, oh man, that dude, man, he tried to grandstand on me at the beach. I never rock with that dude. Well, they were your homies. So they're going to be like, oh, dude like that? Dang, that sucks. I can't even rock with dude if he did you like that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and the word of mouth is so strong, man. Like, you want good things spoken about you. Never two people go places. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've always understood that I was the ugly duckling. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always understood that whereas people always enjoyed my energy and enjoyed my presence for a comedic factor or entertaining factor, I had to earn all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like growing up and jonesing on cats and getting jonesed on and fighting and losing and sitting the bench and all, I had to earn all of that. So to be here is God-given, and I'm super thankful. You know what I'm saying? So like from that perspective, it's not hard to have intimate moments with people. And it's like a lot of times people say, like, that's why I'm shocked that I don't remember this Myrtle Beach joint, because a lot of times when people do tell me like, yo, I remember when I met you, we was da-da-da-da-da, 9 times out of 10, I usually remember those moments. Because unless it's at a comedy show where I'm just taking pictures with a bunch of people, if it's something as intimate as I saw you here and we were da-da-da or da-da-da, like 9 times out of 10, I remember that stuff. So I just try to understand that, you know, I'm just a person, dog. Like, and people that support me and gravitate towards me, like that is a blessing. Like there are a lot of people that try to do what I do, and there are a lot of people that are a lot more successful at what we do. You know what I mean? Like, so I understand where I am in the game. I understand what my goals are as far as success as it stands to me, and I'm just comfortable with that.
All right, so next we're going to ask you some hot seat questions. It can be, they're not long, just something quick, and first thing that comes to your brain. Hot seat, okay?
Ready.
Favorite Carolina moment?
Favorite Carolina moment had to be the championship with Theo and Joel and boys, 2017 for the redemption. Theo throwing the ball up in the air, just the elation. Yeah, 2017.
Favorite Carolina player? All time.
All-time favorite player would have to be probably Bryce. Bryce is the homie, man. Like, and I remember when Bryce first got there and me and him just becoming cool and like, but just the way the stuff that he put up with, like having to become who he was and then still not really sort of, was he respected, was he not respected, just that type vibe, and the way he still fights and battles. Like, I just got a love for Bryce. I think I would say Bryce. Even aside from you, Dino. Sorry.
Oh no, it's all good, baby.
Favorite ACC player?
Favorite ACC player of all time?
All time.
I'll go with my boy CP. I'll go with my boy CP, man.
I had 1 or 2 people in my mind.
Oh, he was one of them?
And they were both in Wake Forest.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I got a lot of love for the little bro. Be chill. Like, I'm glad what he had to overcome. But CP, just because CP has blessed my life in ways that I could never, ever repay him for. You know what I'm saying? Like, he and I were just homies. Like, he too would come over to Winston-Salem State and see me doing my thing. And he and I were homies. And I met him on those type grounds. And, you know, for him to go on to the status that he's gone to and still, like, I was a MC at his wedding. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in there. He got Kevin Hart.
Mine too.
Luda, huh?
So you the MC at my wedding too.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what be dope. All my homies let me come back and fuck out.
You'll probably have 1 foot in the grave by the time you do mine. This ain't the podcast for me. This is not it.
CP though. Like, but even when he brought the joint to Winston-Salem State, you know what I'm saying? Like, he could have brought that to Wake Forest when they had the lockout year and all the best basketball players in the world were in Winston-Salem. He could have took that to his alma mater, Wake Forest. For him to bring it to Winston-Salem State, and then for him to allow me, because I was the PA announcer, like, yo, no, hell, ain't nobody else gonna do that, you Bdaht, and like to let me do that, like, ACC player, definitely CP.
Favorite Make America Fat Again moment or combination?
The favorite one would have to be the Bojangles sausage biscuit with the Boberry. One, because I just reposted that video yesterday, but I didn't even know that they did that. And so I'm just recording it because I didn't believe it. So for it to happen, and then for me to actually make a show because of that episode, like, I guess I got a jingle and stuff now and all kinds of stuff. Like, yeah, like the one that set it off, that's gonna always be my baby, man. Like, I will never forget that. And like, and people from Bojangles were so mad. Like, they were calling up, telling us, yo, stop talking about them Boberry and sausage biscuits. We ain't making no more of them, doctor. Out, man. Hands down.
And this is not a hot seat question. This is the last question for me anyway. You are such an advocate for mental health, and you talk about going to therapy all the time. Just give us a short spiel on how big and important therapy is for you and for people like you, and what has been your progress so far with mental health and being an advocate for it.
Well, therapy saved my marriage, and in turn saved my life. You know, me and my wife were going through some hardships due to my own accounts, and I knew that I was in a very toxic place, but I didn't know why. And I knew that this was a woman that I didn't want to lose, but I didn't know why I was jeopardizing it with foolish behavior. And, you know, growing up in church, I'm totally in agreement with having a vertical relationship with God. Like, I'm totally with that. But sometimes you need somebody that just speaks common sense. Someone that just breaks it down on a level that you understand. You know what I mean? Like someone that you talk to and they talk back. You don't have to wait to hear thine voice type rhetoric. You know what I mean? And this therapist, her name is Jackie Horton, man. I went to, I just Googled some places and I called and they said that this place had an opening. So I went and I was supposed to meet with a guy because I had tried therapy before, but I wasn't honest. I would be in there telling the therapist what I thought that I needed to say to get the sort of answers that I wanted, because I could be, you know, witty with my words sometimes. So like I would just give the version to paint a picture of me that I wanted the therapist to have. And it wasn't being very beneficial. And this was a white woman because I felt like I wanted to go to somebody that was the complete opposite of me. Well, my second time when I got into this situation, I said, I need to go to a man. I need to go to a black man that understands the plight of black men. I need to go to a man. And I was scheduled for him, but when I got there was a mix-up and and it was a female. And she was like, would you like for me to reschedule with him? Would you just like for me to talk to you and get your assessment? And the spirit just told me to just go with Jackie. And I've been with her for 18 months, man. And she taught me things like self-sabotage. And she taught me things of just how to communicate. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of times that's the biggest part, like communication. Like even I wrote down when y'all were talking at the top of the show about the disrespect and all of that. A lot of times, Lord, it's because people don't know how to communicate. You know what I'm saying? They don't know. They know they're upset, or they don't even know why they're upset. And that's another thing. Like a lot of times you have to realize why you're upset. Being upset is a reactionary emotion. So what is it that you're upset about? Usually it's because you feel disrespected or you're sad or you're scared. And once you can identify the root emotion, usually you won't get as upset. And a lot of that is just with therapy, man. Like, so it's not a thing where I tell everybody, you need to go to therapy. You need to go to therapy, but I am a super.
I don't know. You told me that a couple of times.
Well, I mean, I will suggest it if I feel like it would do some service. Now, I will do that, but it's not something that I beat over people's head to do. And you know, but I do think it is beneficial on all levels. just to learn yourself, just to learn why you have what triggers certain emotions and the way you can calm yourself down in certain scenarios. And I'm not a planner, you know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person who just lives off the cuff of his pants, like, you know, just boom, 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 and like putting down a 3-month goal list, a 6-month goal list, a 9-month goal list, and then seeing in 3 months how much stuff you've done and where you can carry over to the next, like things like that, or things that strengthen me. So again, like, it saved my marriage, but it also in turn saved my life, and it just gave me a tighter focus. And so I'm super indebted to therapy and super grateful.
All right.
That's great stuff, man. That's great stuff. I'm a fan of like mental health as well, and just the awareness of it. For everybody who don't know, like, I lost my brother to suicide, and this was in 2017. So
you know what? Hold on, let me just interject real quick, because I saw you put up a post recently about your brother, and I was like, dang, I didn't know Dino lost his brother, but I had no clue it was suicide.
Yep, it was a suicide, man, and again, just his mental state at the time just wasn't where it needed to be. And he was talking about going to therapy, and it just never happened. It never came to fruition. And when you talk about those type of things, and when you talk about, you know, one, having a vertical relationship, but also having somebody that you can talk to like all the time, and that feedback is everything that you need, or everything that you and it's not biased. It's always really what you need. That's what he was for me. You know what I'm saying? So in my life, when he left, I'm like, ooh, because now that relationship is severed. I can talk, but I can't get that same feedback. I found myself talking to myself, or acting like I'm talking to him, and giving the responses that he used to give back, little stuff like that. So you definitely hit it on the head, man, when you feel a certain type of way, and when you especially when it comes to communication, because he was advocate of me, especially with Holly, because I'm always, bro, guess what she done did today, or, you know what I'm saying, this kind of deal and that kind of deal. And he would be like, hey, look at it from this perspective, or look at it from that perspective. He was never the one, like, he was never the homeboy that hype you up, like, yeah, man, bump up, man, let's go get these joints. You know what I'm saying? He was never that. He was always the guy that gave me sound advice and put me back on the path that I needed to be on, so I didn't go and do something stupid. You know what I'm saying? So, but when I lost him, like, there's this void, and it's still there. It's still there. It's getting smaller by the day, because time heals wounds and all that kind of deal. But like, I don't have that anymore. So I've even myself, and I've talked to Holly about it too. Like, I gotta go talk to somebody. I gotta see somebody, because the thoughts that run on in my head, or the things that I used to take to him that I can't anymore, they're just bottled up inside of me. So that's one of the things that I was actually looking at, and maybe starting a foundation around, and all that kind of stuff, suicide prevention, mental health, that kind of deal. So yeah, that's definitely something that I hope people take heed to, understand, and just continue to monitor it as best that they know how.
You take heed to it, like
oh,
I'm
absolutely.
serious, like because, you know, like, dealing with, like, first of all, that void and that hurt, that doesn't have, there is no timetable on that, you know, like,
right.
Nobody can tell you how long to grieve, period. Right. And like, but what I would suggest as far as therapy is concerned, like, just be vulnerable. Just allow yourself to be vulnerable. And I know, and again, we're friends, but, you know, I don't know you well enough to know your temperament as far as that's concerned. But I know that a lot of times with athletes, it's difficult to be vulnerable, because everything about you is one-on-one. Like, I can beat you one-on-one. I can take you one. I'm the alpha male. Like, and sometimes it can be difficult, I'm sure, to show that vulnerability. But in this regard, you would have to show that vulnerability just for it to break through. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But on your own time, but I definitely think it'll be beneficial for you. And I got a question for Dino. Since y'all asked me all these daggone questions, I got a question. Seriously, I've always wanted to ask, you know, an athlete of your caliber. Do Tar Heel, let me make sure I word this correctly. There are two different Tar Heel fans.
Mm-hmm.
There are the Tar Heel fans that attended Carolina, and there are the Tar Heel fans that did not attend Carolina.
Okay.
As a Tar Heel, a former student athlete, a national champion from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, do you all view it as two separate fan bases? And if so, does one hold more weight than the other?
Now that you just said that, this is probably the only time that I've looked at it differently.
Yeah.
Like, you have your alumni fan base, and then you have, that's the only time that I've looked at it differently. Other than that, it's always just been Carolina. But when you say, oh, I went to Carolina too, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's just more of a connection to the fan versus I'm just a Carolina fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, because more times than not, you share a commonality or something like sparks it when it's an alumni. Like, no matter how old, no matter if you graduated in 2006 with me, or you graduated in the 80s, or you graduated in early 2000 or late 2000s, there's some type of connection that when you're an alumni, it's a little bit different. You feel a spark, you feel a closeness to that fan. But you just saying that now is probably the only time that I've looked at it as two different fan bases. More than likely, it's always one. But when you run across an alumni, it's like, oh, it's a little bit more engaging versus you run across just a normal fan. It's like, man, appreciate it, you know what I'm saying? And you go about your business more so.
That's fair.
Yeah, that was a good question, though.
I've always wondered that, because sometimes we get smacked on Twitter for that. Like, you ain't even go to school there. You ain't no Tar.
Right.
I ain't got to go to school there to be a fan. Shut up.
Right. I get it.
Fan base, though. Most of the fan base didn't go to Carolina.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, yeah.
And that's because
that's understood.
We
deep.
We deep. So.
Super deep.
Right. And that's like we were talking about that yesterday. Like, just when you travel and how Carolina travels, how Duke travels, how some of these ACC schools travel, man, it's like our fan base is like that. And
Absolutely.
so when it's like that, when you have that type of support, I do understand the disrespect that you will have because you are so passionate about your program. And when a player, quote unquote, steps out of line or does something that can jeopardize the program. So I understand it, but it doesn't necessarily mean, like we said earlier, that it's right. You know what I mean? So, like, I understand the passion. I understand why fans feel a certain type of way, but at the end of the day, handle it a little bit more respectfully, and then just go about everybody's business like that. But man, it's been a joy having you on, brother. I definitely appreciate you. Man. Hey, the player and the fan is definitely internally grateful. So thank you. Quierra, what you got? Anything left?
I'm good. My soul is happy.
That's good, because you know what I'm saying.
Single one on the podcast is good.
Yeah, it was a little time there. I thought you were just gonna say, you know what, bump it and get up and walk away. But I'm glad you stuck around. I'm glad you stuck around with it.
I'm glad y'all know me well enough to know my face. Like, okay. I'm happy. That made me happy.
No, I appreciate y'all, man. Thanks for having me. I'm gonna definitely support this. I definitely support both of y'all. The only exception is when them pesky go bring their tails down here to play my swarm. But other than that, I support everything y'all do. And if I could just plug real quick.
Of course. Absolutely. How we find you, what's in there, all 30 million of your YouTubes, all of it.
Yeah, no, I just want to plug my YouTube, man. Connect the Dots. If you're on YouTube, of course you are, because you're watching this podcast. So make sure you go over there to Connect the Dots. That's my family channel, man. And from there, I'm going to put my MAFA videos and all of that. Ryan got her videos and stuff she want to do, and Zay. And Carla never wants to be on there, but she's working out more.
Look, there she go.
I'm talking about, like, that's her. All I got to do is snap, and that thing will be here. Do you hear me?
Hey,
but yeah, check out Connect the Dots, man. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, all right, Ryan?
Yes, sir.
1,000 subscribers. That's our goal.
I definitely got to jump on there then.
Absolutely. And Dino, we need to host Late Night with Roy.
Hey, I said the same thing. I went, what was it, a couple years ago? and they had Antoine Jameson and a lady. I can't forgive me. I can't remember her name. But
she played
Soccer.
she played
yeah,
soccer. I think it was But I said the same thing. I said, man, I could do this. I could do this. They need to let me do this. But I don't know with my title now. And now I know why they wouldn't let me do it those years, because I was a high school coach. And when you're a head high school coach, it's, you know, all these recruiting rules and all that kind of stuff. I could have used it to my benefit for players, all that kind of mess. Because I was trying to do the color commentating for Late Night with Roy. So, but they wouldn't let me do it because of that, and also the hosting part of it. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely put that plug in somebody's ear, and we definitely might try to make that happen, brother.
We kill it.
I'm with you. Absolutely, no question about it. No question about it.
I'm gonna just
somebody jealous. They ain't getting enough. They ain't getting enough TV screen time. You gonna bring your crooked box over here? Okay, yeah. All right.
That's
all right. Well, yeah, Zay over here. No, man, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me, for real, man. Let me know when it's up so I can post and all of that, man. Y'all keep killing, bro.
Absolutely, man.
And bro was to you too, Key. That was to you too. That was to both of y'all. That was.
Oh, thank you. You know, thank you. I feel seen.
Look at my
girl. We appreciate y'all.
Throw that one time, look. Throw that one time, please. Behind the ear. Just throw it behind the ear one time. Please, just behind the ear. Look, just throw it behind the ear one time.
Hey, we holler.
Be there or be square.